Hello again. So it's winter and I'm starting to think about putting some better tyres onto my Brompton. Now you might think, what's the point with a Brompton? They don't really need winter tyres because you're generally on the path and it's not really a problem. However, quite a few people, myself included, do a bit of commuting across a bit of rough field and things. It's not too bad in the summer. In the winter it's starting to get muddy, and I'm finding with the Brompton, because they're quite slick tyres, the wheels are spinning. I'm trying to pedal, the wheels spin, the front wheel's all over the place, having a hell of a job staying upright. So I've had a look round. The only knobbly tyres that I can really find that look any good are these ones. These are the Schwalbe or Schwalbe. Never sure how to pronounce it. There's no accent on the E, so I'm guessing it's Schwalbe, but there we go. Now these are the Schwalbe, what are they called? Winter, so the K-Guard they're called. So they've got these little metal spikes in them as well. So mostly I bought them for this knobbliness, which should really help with on the dirt. But apparently these little spikes are good for digging into the ice. We'll see. Personally, I think it's probably a bit of a gimmick, and they'll just wear away when I ride on the road. But we'll see what happens. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put these onto the bike, and then I'm going to take it out for a little test ride in the muddy stuff and see if it feels any better than the slick ones we've got on already. So first things first, let's put them on the bike. Now obviously the first thing we're going to have to do is get the wheels off in order to get the tyres off. On the Brompton, there's plenty of videos on the Brompton website. There's some really good videos about how to get the wheels off. Essentially with this one, front wheel, there's two plastic covers here. You pop the plastic covers off, 15mm nuts underneath, undo them, let the air out so that you can get the tyre past the brakes and the wheel comes out. Beware of these little complicated little lugs that go into the frame. They can be a bit of a pain. I think they're designed so that if the wheel nuts come loose, the wheel doesn't just fall off first time, but that's that. The back wheel, a little bit more complicated. So I've turned the bike round, and back wheel there, you can do it with the wheel folded up like this, or you can do it with the bike completely unfolded. All you do, because you've got these extra things to do, the gears essentially, so all you do, there's a little barrel adjuster here, you undo the little, that goes into the hub gears, there's like a little chain that pokes out here. You undo that and you can then unscrew the chain and it'll come right out of the hub. Put it somewhere safe because I always lose it, and then there's this derailleur mechanism, and all you do, undo the big nut with a 15mm spanner, and this whole plastic springy unit will then come away. You can unhook it from the chain and then put that somewhere safe. Once that's undone, it's just like a normal back wheel. You just undo the two 15mm nuts and the back wheel will come off. Again, you'll have to let the air out of the tyre to get it past the brakes. Putting it back is the opposite. You push it in, you do up the main nuts, make sure you've got the chain in, and with the 3-speed hub, there's some little things that engage in the frame to stop the thing from rotating, to stop the hub from rotating on the frame. That's really important because that's what gives you your gearing with your hub gears. So make sure those are lined up properly when it goes in. It probably won't go in properly. Without it won't be right. And then you simply put this plastic springy thing back on again, bolt it up, and then hook the chain onto it in the same way that it is when you took it off. And finally you screw this little chain back in, and it does go back in quite easily, and then you connect it back up and that's your wheel done. So that's taking the wheel off and putting it back on. As I said, Brompton's got some really good videos on their website of the detail of how to do that. So the next thing we need to do, get the old tyre off. Check the condition, it's in reasonably good, and you can see it's got a bit muddy. So first things first, we let all the air out. Make sure you get all the air out of that tyre. So what I'm doing is just putting it down, and then I can press the little thing. Can't quite reach it. There we go. We'll let the air out of it. Now what I need to do is get all of the air out of the tyre. So make sure, just kind of roll it around and make sure it's completely flat, not hissing anymore. There we are. Now I can use these tyres again, so I don't want to damage them. Now you see a lot of people messing about trying to get tyres off. I think it's really difficult to do using tyre levers and things. And the problem with tyre levers, when you stick a tyre lever, it's very, very easy to pinch the inner tube and break it. And you don't actually need to, even with these little tyres, because there's always going to be a gap. And what you do what you try and do is to move the wheel to one side, if you like, to one side of the thing, and you find you generate a little gap at the top, and all you need to do, you bang the tyre on the ground there, and then you pushing the sides in, so you're forcing the wheel down in the tyre, pushing the tyres in and trying to generate a little gap at the top. And as you do that, you'll find, as long as you've got all the air out, that you can just pull the tyre off the rim without too much trouble. See, there we go. See, just managed to pull that off there, not difficult. And then you just go around and you pull it off on one side also. You're still on the rim there, and you're kind of off the rim there. Then you find the valve, which has disappeared, and we can then pull the inner tube out. Oh, there's the valve, found it. Push that up, pull the tube out, put that to one side, and then the rest of the tyre will just come off just like that. And there's your tyre. So I can give that a bang, clean it up, get all the mud off it, put that somewhere for safekeeping. Now the next thing I'm going to do is just to check all this rim tape and make sure it's in place where it's supposed to be, nicely in the middle. And I've got no dinks and nasty bashes on the rim, not that there's much I could do about it. Now the beauty of this, the fact that I've taken off one and left the other one on, means I know which direction the wheel's going in, because these tyres have a rotation mark on them. If I can find it somewhere around here, it says the rotation direction. There it is, rotation. So it says it's needing to rotate in this direction, so in other words, that way. So if the tyre's going on like that, the wheel's going onto the bike like that, then that'll be going in the right direction. And again, putting the tyre on is pretty easy. Put the wheel in the hole, put one side of the tyre on all the way around like that, so it's on. And then you can take your tube, complete with old patches, find where the hole is, which in this case is right there. And now what I've done is put enough air in the tube that it just holds its shape. I don't want it completely flat because it'll be a nightmare to put in, so it's just enough so it holds its shape and sits as it would on the bike. So I can then put this up to the wheel, find the hole, and I can then start to tuck this in a little bit. Quite difficult with one hand. So I'm just tucking the tube into the tyre like this all the way around. Like so. There we are. So that tucked in, and I can now find the hole, which is miles away, and then I can tuck the valve back into the hole, and there we are. That's poked into the hole. Now once that's in place, I'll make sure it's all at 90 degrees so it's not sticking out either way. And starting at the valve, I can start just now pushing the tube onto the rim all the way around. Okay, so I carry on round until I've got the tube onto the rim all the way around. Let's just carry on now. Okay, next thing, so we've got one rim of the tyre on, one off. So next we go to the valve, and I'm letting as much air out as I can to make this easier. So I just let it down again, and then starting at the valve, I'm just tucking the tyre over onto the rim, so the second side. Now you might have to push the valve up a little bit to get the tyre to sit properly at this point. Like that. Okay, and when it's in, you can pull the valve back down again, make sure it's nice and square to the rim. And now I just go around, using my fingers, and I can just put it back onto the rim. And you get to a point at the top here, where it starts to get tight, and this is where you're tempted to go, oh, let's get the tyre levers out, but don't, because this is the classic time when you pinch the rim. So it's just a repeat of what we did before, so I can let the air, make sure all the air's out of those tyres, and then I'm pushing the tyre down, pushing the sides in, and that's going to create me a little gap at the top. So I'll just go all the way around, and we should find that the tyre just clips in at the top, and we just work it round it. There we go, it's popped on. Now that was quite a difficult one to do. These are very, very tight, these tyres, compared to ones I've done before. So it took a little bit of force on the fingers, but still done, quite easily done by the side of the road. And that's the tyre on. Then pop it back on, make sure we get the direction, and if you got the direction right, you can see there's like little chevron, like little arrows, and they'll be pointing in the direction of travel, so you know you've done it the right way around. So let's stick this back on the bike and then blow it up. If you blow it up first, then you probably won't get it past the brakes. So here we are, going along on a bit of quiet road, see what it's like, and immediately, if you can hear that, there's a lot of noise coming from the tyres. So I think it's the little metal bits on the road. So feel wise, feels about the same as a normal set of tyres. I'm going to try stopping. Okay, that seems about the same as normal. There's a certain amount of skidding, but I did put the brakes on quite hard. So feels like they're similar, maybe slightly more slippery than a normal set. Okay, so this is the mud path that's part of my commute. It's not too bad today. Little bits of mud, little bits of water, but not too much. So this is what I'm going to try going along now. Here we go. I've turned the camera around, and I'm going to now head off onto the muddy bit. So over the bump, through the puddle, and immediately I'm starting to feel like I'm much more in control. So I'm giving it some welly, and I'm going along quite nicely. I can steer. This is much better. This is notably better. I'm going to deliberately go through these muddy looking bits. Okay, and a really wet muddy bit, and that is fantastic. It's just cutting through. It's like a different bike. This bit's really quite muddy now. You can hear it, and it's really positive. No slipping about at all. That's much better than I was expecting. And I'll come down this bit. So again, I'm going to deliberately head for the slippy looking slopey bits, just to give it a good taste. I'm not feeling like it's slipping about at all. It's really quite impressive. And up the hill, yep, through some more puddles. That's good. And out onto the road. Okay, now this is the bit I've always struggled with in the past. This is the bit we go up and round the corner and it's slippy. So let's see how we go with this. Now going round up the hill, and that is incredible. No slip whatsoever. Well, that was pretty impressive. Normally when I go up that little hill, the back wheel's spinning and I'm just losing control. That was considerably better. I'm quite impressed with how they're performing off-road, so hopefully in winter they'll perform pretty well as well. So that really was quite good. I'm back onto the road again now, and again I've got that noise again from the metal spikes. I've got a feeling, as I said before, that the metal spikes probably wear down quite quickly. So there we are. Seems like they're not too bad. So now I've just got back from that ride. I've done literally half a mile. If we look at these spikes now, we can see that they've worn really quite flat. There's probably half the spike already gone. And I suspected that they would wear away, but not quite this quickly. But it's not too bad because I only bought them for the knobbliness anyway. But it does seem that spikes are a bit of a gimmick, and if you're going to ride on the road, they'll just wear away. One more thing we need to think about with these tyres. When the back wheel folds round here and it sits against here, so we've now got these nasty little metal spikes, and what's going to happen is they're liable to scratch the paint on here, and I don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do, bit of tape. This is Gorilla tape, it's waterproof, like duct tape. I'm going to put some of this on here and hopefully that will protect the frame. So you can see now I've folded it up and the points of contact are right here where I've got the tape and right here where I've got the tape. So that's looking like the right place. Looks like we're making contact along the top here as well. I think I'll put a little strip of tape on the underside of here too, just to be on the safe side. So there we are, tape under there, tape on here. I've actually put a double layer of tape on these bits here because they're the bits that are going to take all the wear. And hopefully that's it. Job done. As I said, I've been reasonably impressed with these tyres. Off-road, on-road, I think I probably lost a little bit of grip while it's dry and summery. But hopefully that will improve in the winter when it gets much more icy and snowy and unpleasant out there. So let's see how they go. I think I'll put little bulletins as I sort of get used to using them. I'll put some bulletins in the notes underneath to give any extra things that I discover about them. Anyway, hopefully that's been useful. Feel free to subscribe if you want to, otherwise I might see you next time.